and gentlemen, it is time to step onto the ice for some Biscuits and Penalties. I'm Cobra. I'm joined once again by Alex onto the ice. Say hello, my friend.
Hello.
Man. We are getting closer and closer to round 3. The Stanley Cup Conference Finals. Unfortunately, we do have 2 teams that are going to be playing this weekend. The Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets will be playing probably are playing right now as we speak. And of course, the Florida Panthers hope to knock out the Toronto Maple Leafs in a Game 7. You know, this is very exciting. Of course, if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you've been here before. But you know, currently it's Edmonton and Carolina, which ironically Toronto has been there before, because in 2001, a little bit of a history lesson, when the Carolina Hurricanes made the Stanley Cup final for the first time, they defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs en route to a 5-game loss to the powerhouse Detroit Red Wings. Just a very fun fact for you. Alex, I know you're going to be watching Dallas versus Winnipeg intensely because, again, this is a very exciting matchup. You know, Connor Hellebuck and Jake Ottinger in net once again. And I think a player, unfortunately, is dealing with some tragic news. Is that right?
Yes. Muck Sheffel, one of the Jets' powerhouse players, father passed away, unfortunately, yesterday. But he is a go today, so pretty much a good fire under the asses of the Jets to go back home in Game 7 to try to play the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals.
A little bit of a correction there, Alex. It's pronounced Shifley, not Shifley. Not Sheffley, Shifley. Just a little correction there. But yeah, that I say it. Sometimes athletes take the sadness of tragedy and bottle it up, and use it as an intense amount of motivation just to power through to become championship winners. I mean, we have seen it with famous welfare fund respecter Brett Favre. We've seen it with many other athletes using a tragedy. Hell, we've seen athletes use 9/11 as a tragedy. That's how we ended up with the New England Patriots dynasty that ruined us because they needed red, white, and blue. That's a conspiracy. But yeah, that's definitely something to I don't wish death on it. Don't wish that on anyone. I hope that Shifley uses this to power through, and hopefully make it to the Western Conference Final, in the Winnipeg Jets history for the first time. So this is exciting for Winnipeg. Although a little bit tragic, it's still exciting. But before we break down the games, we talk about those who are moving on. And no surprise, probably a surprise to many people. The Edmonton Oilers are headed back to the Western Conference Final, led by Connor McJesus. And Connor McJesus and Leon Draisaitl. Interestingly enough, I can't recall if they're sticking with Calvin Pickard or they brought back Jeff Skinner. Oh, not Jeff Skinner, Stuart Skinner. Excuse me, Jeff Skinner's a different player. I want to look at the box. I want to look at the box score for a minute. Was Pickard in the last game against the Golden Knights? No, it was Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner was the last one. So, of course, Edmonton. Edmonton always a powerhouse. Again, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, famous responsible gambler Evander Kane. The list goes on with players that they have. But the big question mark for Edmonton is goaltending. Stuart Skinner better get his head out of his ass, or he's going to be heading down to Springfield and become a Condor. Alex, anything you would like to add about Edmonton?
Definitely an interesting spot for Edmonton. They back in here from last year when they ended up advancing to the Stanley Cup and losing in a great 7-game series against the Florida Panthers. Definitely intrigued to see what they do with the goalie position as they enter the Western Conference Finals, and they have a long break to see what they're going to play because who knows? The Jets could win tonight 4-7, and then I will see if the rest time will hurt the Oilers or help them because we see it in playoffs over and over and over again. Teams with long breaks usually struggle in the first game of the finals. So let's hope this doesn't happen to them. And some little history, the last time 3 Canadian teams made the conference finals was 1986. So it's been almost 40 years since 3 Canadian teams made the conference finals. So this is a lot on the shoulders of the Jets and the Leafs to try to get it done and make it a new year.
And if I remember correctly, I believe those 3 teams were Edmonton, definitely one of them, Montreal, and Vancouver, I want to say. Am I wrong or am I right?
I mean,
Yeah.
oh,
Because Toronto was definitely not in that equation, and it definitely wasn't the Nordiques or the Winnipeg Jets.
so it was actually Calgary was the runner-up.
Oh yeah, Lanny
Montreal was
McDonald.
the champions.
Forgive me about it. I think it was the Lanny McDonald Stanley Cup. So now for the Eastern Conference, I know this kind of hurts, Alex, but advancing to the Stanley Cup final is
The Hurricanes.
the
They're not happy
Carolina
about it.
Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes won in 5 games, defeated the Washington Capitals, sending Alex Ovechkin back to the golf links, where he has spent a majority of his career besides being on the Washington Capitals. Sorry, you had to rub that in. Interestingly enough, the goaltending tandem has been, the backup Pyotr Kochetkov, who has definitely become a little bit of a meme lord, if you will. Definitely looks to be a hot star in Carolina. But taking the reins in net is a familiar face if Toronto advances, and that would be Harold Bluetooth himself, Freddie Anderson. Who is a solid rock in net against the Capitals. Unfortunately, this is not Carolina's first time in the Eastern Conference Final. I think they have been here they have been here 3 different times. This is their 3rd time. They are 1-1. Excuse me. They every time they go to the Eastern Conference Final, they advance. Being 1-1 in the Stanley Cup Final. Their first time they lost to Detroit in 5, and the next one they defeated Edmonton. And that was the post-lockout Stanley Cup, a Stanley Cup that not a lot of people remember, interestingly enough. Which, of course, in that game, the goaltender that took over that entire game that won the Conn Smythe Trophy as a rookie was, well, he was drafted in the first overall. His name was Cam Ward. Interesting fact right there. I had, which, funnily enough, he actually reacted to the fact that he was, well, he joked that he was drafted, but still. Alex, I know this is definitely a form of panel for you. But talk about it, man.
Honestly, I thought we would play better. I had so much confidence after we beat Montreal in 5 games. I really thought we were going to go all the way this year, but at the end of the day, I think it was a goalie problem. We were back and forth between Charlie Lindgren and Logan Thompson, and when the games that we won, I think Lindgren was in net. Thompson struggled a lot in that game yesterday. Definitely doesn't feel good. I was definitely more upset about it than I should have been because 100-point team, you expect to go deep in the playoffs, and knowing that the Jets are President's Trophy winners, trying to go deep in the bracket, it really hurts to say it. And I thought Ovechkin was going to get his second ring, but at the end of the day, we can't win everything. And, it sucks for DC. We haven't won a Stanley Cup in over 9 years. 2018 was the last time we won anything, and the whole city has been just defeated with this because the Commanders haven't won since the 1990s. Nationals haven't won since 2019. The Wizards are just a disgrace of basketball who can't play anything. So the
Yeah,
Capitals are limelight for this season.
yeah. I mean, the Washington Wizards haven't won anything since they were the Bullets. You know, but yeah, I don't, definitely goaltending was the big issue. Was definitely the big issue in Washington. But hey, at least Ovechkin gets to test out his new driver. I mean, there is that.
It's fine.
Uh,
We'll be back next year.
I
Anybody
know.
but Carolina.
Hey, I got a twisted knife. I got a twisted knife. Not gonna lie. All right. We're not wrapping up yet. We do want to. Alex, is there anything you want to add? I know you got some things you want to shoot off the cuff here.
I do. So, little minor league hockey news. Go to the ECHL. They're currently in the playoffs right now, but there's some news spanning around the playoffs. They are expanding to, I believe, New Mexico in 2026. Or 2025. They're getting a new team in New Mexico to add to the already stacked divisions. Yeah, it's Rancho is getting an expansion team in 2026 and 2027 in New Mexico. So they're going more West Coast than they are. So this is definitely intriguing and definitely fun for New Mexico to get a sports team. They don't have a sports team in any league, I don't think.
Other than college
So this is
football,
definitely
other than
college
college
football.
sports,
So this
college
is a
sports, the New Mexico Lobos.
big thing for them. We don't know the name yet. They're just the New Mexico pro hockey team right now. I'm assuming we're getting more news next year as we get into the 2025-2026 season. So in the next 2 years, we're going to have a new team in the ECHL in New Mexico.
If I had to say anything for New Mexico, Werewolves would probably be a good one.
Oh yeah.
To go off the New Mexico Lobos, kind of go off that. Anywho, and also, how many times do we had to deal with this old man, Gary Bettman, NHL commissioner? You would think the NHL would learn their lesson that Atlanta does not want a hockey team. They didn't want the Flames. The Flames fucked off to Calgary and won. And the Thrashers, well, they were owned from day one. They were absolute garbage. To the point where their parody team, the Trashers, are much better. And of course, they are now in the Stanley Cup final or the Stanley Cup playoffs as the Winnipeg Jets. So Gary Bettman's like, oh, hey, yeah, we're definitely going to re-stick our dick back in Atlanta. And I'm like, no. What part of Atlanta does not want hockey? Atlanta, I'm going to say this. Atlanta is not a hockey market. It's every other sport. It's a good market. Baseball, basketball, football, pro wrestling. And NASCAR. Hockey, definitely no. So Bettman, get off the stupid juice. I would say for once in your life, but we know that you never lay off the stupid juice, especially when Brett Hull skates in the crease. All right, we know this. So, yes, I'm still upset about that. But yeah, Bettman, stay away from Atlanta. There are plenty of markets out there who would definitely take a hockey team. Hell, bring one back to Arizona.
So we need more West Coast teams.
Yeah, we need more West Coast teams. Go to Portland. Go to Portland. Go back to Arizona. Go to Portland. Go to just stay the fuck away from Atlanta, you stupid old bastard. Ugh.
I think that needs to happen. They need to realign the divisions. I feel like the divisions are aligned good right now, but we add more teams. It's going to require realignment to actually really have it.
Of course. You're not wrong about that. I mean, I guarantee you that I would think that the NHL would probably go to a 36-team league, probably be the first one. I've said it before. The NHL most likely would be the first league to go to 36 teams.
Oh, I definitely see it. There's a lot of West Coast ground we haven't covered, and probably a lot more Canadian provinces that would need.
There's also a lot of hockey talent out there, man. There is a lot of hockey talent. Like it's being so much of a glut with hockey talent. But let's get ready. Let's get ready to get into it. Let's talk about the games that's going on. Let's make a little saucy bowl prediction here. So as we said tonight, Dallas and Winnipeg is playing tonight. What do you think is going to happen, Alex?
It's a tough thing to talk about because both these teams are very high powered. They have two phenomenal goalies in Connor Hellebuck and Jake Ottinger. So I honestly think the Jets are going to edge the Stars tonight in a very, very tight game on the back of Schauffele and what he Shifley, thank you. What he's going through, it's obviously it's a tragic thing to go through, but we've seen it before with players like Brett Favre and other players that have lost family members and have gone out and destroyed it on the field or the ice rink. So I think the Jets are going to ride on the back of that in a morbid positive note to go back at home and go to 7. So I think the Jets are going to win in maybe an overtime game, or who knows what's going to happen tonight. So give me the Jets.
I'm going with the Jets as well, in similar fashion as well. I'm not saying they're going to overtime, but I'm saying the game-winning goal will be performed in the third period. Mark Scheifele will not only be a plus, but get a point on that game. It'll be a 1-0 game 6, and it goes to Winnipeg for game 7. That is my bold prediction on this game. That is going to be a 1-0 goaltenders duel, and the final and the last goal and And the game-winning goal, excuse me, will be in the third period in the final few minutes. That is my bold prediction. And finally, for the Eastern Conference, Game 7, Florida, Toronto. Alex, who do you have?
Ooh. If Austin Matthews and the Leafs play like they did in Game 6, and even though we know Matthews has struggled in this playoffs, I think that was his first goal against the Panthers the entire series, I think. It was the first playoff goal in a long time. So if they played good last night, Toronto's going to play Carolina. But if they struggle, I'm going to say Bobrovsky's going to prevail tomorrow and be able to help the Panthers advance. So I'm going to give Florida Panthers the edge. But if Matthews can play well, this is anybody's game at this point. But give me the Panthers to advance to play the Hurricanes.
You know, Toronto definitely plays with a chip on its shoulder. It's been playing with a chip that is almost 60 years large. And you know what? You know, that's a huge chip. The players are dealing with it. But here's the thing. I guarantee, they're going to Toronto, right?
I believe so. Let me.
If they are, I will definitely tell you this. Toronto has lost the fans. Toronto has lost their fan base.
Oh, I've seen videos of the fan base ripping the wire towels and just losing their minds with it. So
Not just that. I think their coach is Craig Berube, I think. I can't remember who Toronto's coach is. I think it's Berube.
yeah, but yeah, it's Berube.
Yeah, who called the fans a bunch of noise. What? No. You don't do that. All right. Look, I have no hope in Toronto in this current core to carry momentum from Game 6 to Game 7. I have no hope with that, considering what they did in Game 5. They had the series lead. Okay, they had the series lead. You know, we both talked about this. I made the prediction that Florida was going to basically come back and defeat the Leafs, and I'm standing with that. I say Florida wins tomorrow night, and I say it will be an embarrassment. Basically, if I were Toronto Leafs management, I would try to win back the fans because fan apathy is at an all-time high. They're bringing their own piss to a boil. And we're not even playing, and they're not even playing till tomorrow. But the fervor is there. You know, there's no excuse. There's no excuse when they lose this time. You know, you could blame, you could have won if you had Stolars. Good teams win with their backups.
Yeah, Josh Wolf has been dominating.
Josh Wolf's been good. He's been good. He's been good despite Stolar's injuries. That's no excuse. The excuse is the money. Austin Matthews, Mitch the Bitch Marner, John Tavares, Willie Nylander. Those are your highest paid players on that team. They need, if they're going to win, they need to step up. They need to keep stepping up like they did in Game 6. If they pull that laissez-faire Game 5 bullshit that they did, they might as well pack their bags and each one of them get sent to either Seattle, Utah, or Philadelphia. Because I guarantee you, they're definitely not going to be welcome back in Toronto if they do what they do in Game 5 in Game 7. If it's the reverse, then Toronto has to battle Carolina. It's not like they haven't faced them before in the Stanley Cup final or in the Eastern Conference final. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm going Florida on this one. Primarily because I want to hear the blood vessels in Steve Dangle's brain burst. And Johnny Superbman just absolutely burn another Leafs jersey in frustration. That's, I know I'm cruel like that, but sometimes fan apathy, especially when you're a big time name, is funnier when it's real. After all, ask fan of the channel Urinating Tree when they got their asses kicked by the Cleveland Browns. I believe he was number 8 trending on YouTube.
I've seen videos of people burning Matthews jerseys when they lost 6-1. I think that was in Game 5 to the Panthers. And I feel like if they lose tomorrow, are we going to put in question the 3 stars that are costing them money? Or are we putting the coaching question for this? What is going to cause them? What's the question mark for that?
The question mark is the players, because it's second first, same as the first. Like, the players have to step up, and if you're not, and if the coaches can only do so much. If the players can't step up, because we've seen that shit with Mitch Marner. And I'm serious. Mitch Marner has played this shit before. Austin Matthews has played this shit before. These stupid games. You can't do that. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Right, and I think this is turning off of the first round curse that the Maple Leafs have every year when they lose to Boston. I think this is the same question we need to have: is it the round 1 curse? It's in the second round, but are we saying this is a curse for them because they always lose in the first round? This is not a spot they've been in a long time. So are they just having second round jitters, or this is a team not good enough to win big games?
It's the latter. The team is not good enough to win big games. I don't know if they're apathetic to it. They've run out of gas. I don't know. And personally, I don't care. Because how much money are you making? You're pulling this crap. I don't care. I really don't. Your fourth liners are playing better hockey than you are in the playoffs. Like, yeah, no. I can't buy that, Alex. All right, that is it for our podcast, which was brought to you by a very strong product. That is our friends at Raw Nutrition, who are currently having a sale right now. They, if you use the code RAW at checkout, you get up to 25% off all proteins, and with brand new flavors. They have peanut butter banana protein shake out there. Obviously, they don't just do protein. They have pre-workout. They have creatine. They have all other products out there to get those gains up. Take it from Cobra, who goes to the gym on a daily basis. No, I am not jacked. I just need to work out. And I trust Raw Nutrition. The isolate protein that they have is great tasting, easy mixing in a shaker bottle, and it goes down smooth and delivers great results right to your body. And like I said, if you use the promo code RAW at checkout, you do get up to 25% off any protein shake. But use our affiliate link in the bio wherever you get your podcast to show the channel some love. Raw Nutrition is made in USA. So once again, check them out. That is Raw Nutrition. Alex, go to the gym?
What's up?
Do you go to the gym?
I do not.
If you, yeah, but I do say if you do go, I will say I do recommend them. The blackberry lemonade pre-workout was great. I will attest to that. Like I said, our affiliate link is in the bio. Sure, channel some love. But we're also we're not only on we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, and we're on TikTok for as long as that's around. Check us out there. And we also have our other podcasts as well. The Dirt and Turf podcast. We just had our baseball episode yesterday, so check that out. Kat hosted that one. It was her turn in rotation. And of course, we have the lap down. Greg Farmer is in his driver's seat on that one to talk NASCAR, IndyCar, and all other motorsport. We also step into the ring on occasion for the Social Slam podcast, which is our wrestling podcast. Which, by the way, rest in peace, Sabu. We also have our football podcasts. With the hard count entering its 4th season this upcoming year, and Passing the Pigs returns in name but not in sport, because it is going to be our college football podcast hosted by Tyler. So we are definitely looking forward to that. Once again, all those are on Spotify and YouTube, and we're on TikTok. Go check us out. Like, comment, and subscribe. We do want to hear your feedback. And also, we're on social medias as well. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I have a personal Blue Sky account, so check that out as well. But anywho, that is it for our Biscuits and Penalties podcast. It's unfortunately it's time to step off the ice because the Zamboni is here. We'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.